Good evening, Beavers. This is Mr. Christiansen. I'm one of the health teachers at Beaverton High School. And I've been asked to do a video for the how-to series for Beaverton High School. So as I was thinking about this, I was thinking about what do I like to do? Well, I like to cook. And one of the things that I'm going to share with you this afternoon is how to make homemade salsa. And I'm telling you, this is much better than store-bought. Much better for you. Being a health teacher, we're looking for fresh ingredients and looking for ingredients that are healthy. And so this is something I think you guys will really like. So we'll zoom in here and get a kind of a picture of some of the ingredients. We're going to use Roma tomatoes. And the key with Roma tomatoes is that they just offer less water. And you want to kind of keep this salsa nice and thick and not too runny. So Roma tomatoes are key. We're going to use about 6 Roma tomatoes. We're going to add a half a red pepper. It's going to give a little sweetness. We're going to have 2 jalapeños, and make sure you take out the seeds unless you like your salsa super hot. We're going to take all the seeds out. I've already done that. And also when you're doing the jalapeños, make sure you're not getting too much on your fingers. I wear contact lenses, boy, and I tell you, when I get those jalapeno juices in my eyes, it hurts. So make sure you take care and you wash your hands after that. We have limes. I like to have 1 whole lime for about 6 tomatoes. And you can have more lime or less. And then we're going to have a half a red onion. We're going to add some green onions and just a few, I'd say maybe like 2 green onions. And then we're going to add cilantro. And I'm going to actually put about a good handful of cilantro in there. And then this recipe, we're going to use 1 can of the already stewed petite tomatoes. We're going to add that. And then I like to add a small can, about a 4-ounce can of green chilies. And these are mild and these are really good. And then I have some other flavors we're going to add. We're going to add some ground cumin, just a little bit. I'll show you that as we do this. Some chili powder, some salt, and just a little dash of sugar. All right, I also, when I'm doing this, I like to have a little bowl set aside that I can kind of put my extra stuff in. So when I cut up a tomato, I'm going to kind of give it a little slice in the top right here. I can get rid of that end, and then I'm going to cut it into 4 sections, and we're going to add my tomato. So I have my tomatoes almost done. Again, I'm just going to cut those up into chunks. I'm going to put those into the blender. And your blender can be almost anything. We have a Ninja blender, which is pretty awesome. But you could use do it by hand. You can use a small blender, anything you have. You can even do this by knife if you wanted to, but we like to use the Ninja blender. It gets it really fine and kind of a restaurant style, and I'll show you guys that. All right, then I like to put in the red bell pepper. You can put a green one in there as well. We're going to do a couple chunks. Nice and big is just fine. Same thing with the onions. We're just going to cut these in a couple chunks. Put our onions in there. And then we're going to give this just a short little blend before we get the rest of the ingredients in here. One thing that's nice about this Ninja blender is everything locks in. And then we can just give it a little pulse. Just going to take the ingredients down. Well, that's good for right now. And then we'll add the rest of the ingredients. So we're going to put our jalapenos in there. Again, I already seeded those and kind of cleaned those out. So we'll cut those in chunks. And then I'm going to take 2 of these green onions. We're just going to trim kind of the ends off here on the side. Put those into our little garbage bowl. Put our green onions in. We're going to take, I don't know, about a handful, so a pretty good amount of cilantro. And you can depend upon less. And if you really don't like cilantro, that's fine too. You can skip that. But if cilantro gives it a really nice flavor. And then we're going to throw in a can of the green chilies. And that's something I like to add extra to this. A can of the already stewed tomatoes. We're going to squeeze a whole lime. Again, I like to use 1 whole lime for about 6 tomatoes. And you could add more if needed. but this usually works out pretty well. And then we're going to add just I don't know, maybe about a half a teaspoon of sugar, not a whole lot, just a little bit in here. And that red bell pepper is going to give it some sweetness as well. Oh, I almost forgot the garlic. We have a little bit of garlic, and I used about 2 teaspoons of garlic. And we like garlic, so we're going to use a little bit more than probably this recipe really needs, but it tastes really good. And then we're going to put about a half a teaspoon of the ground cumin. And chili powder is really good, so we're going to do the same thing. That's about maybe a little bit less, maybe about a quarter teaspoon. I use a couple different sprinkles. A little bit of salt. And we're going to give this a couple good pulses. So we have all our ingredients in there. And you can make this as chunky as you want or as fine as you want this. So we'll open this up. We'll get a view from the top down. Take a look at this. And I'm going to kind of put some of the cilantro down. It's already looking really good. All right, a few more pulses, and this will be ready to go. And then you can eat this right away. We like to actually pop into the fridge for maybe an hour or two. It's also really good the next day, probably even better. And usually this keeps for about a week, so anywhere from about 5 to 7 days. We devour this pretty quick, so we're not usually worried about that. But yeah, with fresh salsa, you can put it in the refrigerator for about 7 days. Okay, I'm guessing this looks pretty good. It does. Look, another little view there. So this is kind of restaurant style, so it's still fairly chunky, but it's blended nice and neat. Okay, so we have this blended up, I think, where we want this. Now the Ninja blender, this thing is the dangerous part. This is the blade that has all kinds of different blades on it. You have to be really careful with this thing. Just put this into the sink. Then we have a pretty big bowl. And this makes a huge bowl of salsa. So we got our chips ready to go too and our salsa, and I'm going to give this a good taste, see how it is. It looks really good. That's outstanding. I hope you guys will give this a try. I know you'll like it. This isn't too hot. Has a little sweetness to it. You can add a little bit more sugar if you wanted to, but you don't have to. And obviously with jalapenos, you can add a little bit more. But that turned out really well. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you enjoyed the video. Good luck when you try this recipe. Enjoy, and happy holidays. From me to you guys, for now.